In today's video, we'll show you how to change your rear brake pads and rotors of your 2007 to 2011 Honda CR-V. And as usual, we'll go through the whole thing together. We'll share a couple of quick tips, so pick up your wrench, let's have some fun. You are watching BrakeX. Let's go. First things first, we'll take the wheel off. And once the wheel's off, there's these two bolts that's holding the caliper. We'll take them off. Now we have to remove the brake hose from this clip. And once the bolt's out, you can use a flathead to pry the caliper out. Nice and easy. And now we can take the pads off. And don't forget to remove the old clips from the caliper. Now once we get the clips off, we can remove the caliper by removing these two big bolts. And once the two bolts off, the caliper bracket comes off immediately. Now we can work on the next part. And there's this little rubber part that we'll have to pry it off. And now there's these two screws that's holding on the rotor. We'll want to remove them, but a quick tip here is to stay nice and gentle. We don't want to break the head of it. And once the screws are off, we can use a hammer, bang it up for a bit, just to get the rotors off the hub. And it's nothing too crazy. It shouldn't be too hard, especially for a rear rotor. And now, everything's loose. We can work on the next part. And there's a little hole in the middle of the rotor. There's a little clip inside that you have to handle. We generally use a flathead just to give it a little pry, and it should do the magic. And as you're done with that little thing, your rotor should come right off. If it's giving you a hard time, you can use a little hammer to help yourself. Now we can use a wired brush to clean up the hub, just to remove all the rust, the brick dusts, to give space for the new rotor. And for this part, it's generally great if you have access to air tools, but if not, just a simple wire brush would do the job. And don't forget to clean up the old caliper bracket. And it's the same idea. We just want to clean up the rust or any brick dusts just to make space for the new clips. The next thing is to double check the rubber part on the caliper pin bolt. Give it a gentle squeeze, a little pull, a little push. See if there's anything cracked, anything broken. Nothing, then we can work on the next part. We'll remove the pin bolts and we'll wipe down the grease and we'll grease it back up. And now here's a tip that we share in every single one of our videos. The general idea here is not to flood your pin bolts with greases, but we just need the right amount just to cover it up and make it lubricated. Same thing for the other side. Next step is to grease up the area where your clips are going to sit on the caliper bracket. And it's the same thing, same idea, same story. You don't want to flood the caliper bracket, you just need the right amount of grease. For today's video, we'll be using the BrakeX Alpha brake pads with the Aegis fully coated rotors. So if you like the video so far, or if you find this useful, make sure to check us out at BrakeX.com. And for this part, we'll be installing the new clips, and it should be pretty straightforward. And just before we put everything back together with the new parts, we'll grease up the hub, just for the rotors to sit on. Again, that's nothing crazy, and then we can get the rotors on. And of course, don't forget the 2 little screws. And after that, we'll use our best friend, the flathead, just to pry the clip again. And now this part, it takes time, just be patient and we'll be there. Now as the new rotor's on, we can put the caliper bracket back in place. And just a quick tip here, we can always hand spin the bolts back on and mount the caliper bracket before we really use a wrench and try to tighten everything up. And just a quick reminder, we'll want to make sure the bolts are tight. That 2 bolts are what's holding your caliper in place, and you don't want them to be loose. And before we put the caliper back on, we can use the piston tool just to push the caliper piston back into the caliper. And it should be nice and easy. And just before we put the pads back on the caliper, don't forget to grease the pads up. We only need the greases on the pads where it's touching the clips. And it's the same story. We don't want to flood the pads. And now we can slide the pads on. And just a quick general tip here, the pad with the handle is always in general the inside of the caliper. The handle is basically designed there for you to pick up the pads when you're removing them. And now as everything's back together, we can now reassemble the 2 bolts that we removed at the very first place. And once again, make sure everything's tight. You don't want your brakes to be shaking. And we're close, but not done yet. Don't forget to clip the brake hose back on the clip. And this little piece of rubber. Now as we put the wheel on, always remember to tighten your lugs in a star-shaped pattern. And don't forget to torque the wheel. And we're all set. Now, once again, thank you for joining us at BrakeX. If you liked the video, or if you find this useful at least, make sure to check us out at BrakeX.com, and we'll see you again next time.